Hey, do you want to learn how to make stuff like this? I'll teach you, don't worry. Alright, first thing we need to do is download Steam. Steam is a free game client where you can download games, but we're also going to be using it to download an app called SFM. It's an animation software that allows us to also import models directly by downloading them from the Steam Workshop. All links will be available in the description. BTW. Now, once you have Steam installed, you can just click Workshop from one of the top tabs or just search it up directly online. Now, you need to type in specifically Source Filmmaker, as there are so many more assets that the Steam Workshop is available for. Now, there are so many models you can click and subscribe to and download for free, but today we are going to be searching up Dead by Daylight, as that is the models where I use for all of my animations and the ones we'll be using today. Now, I've already downloaded a couple of these, and the one that will be featured in today's animation is the Sable Ward model. Please check it out. It is completely free, and if you want to copy what I do in this video, search up Sable Ward Dead by Daylight in the SFM Workshop and just click subscribe. It will automatically be downloaded. Now, our second model we are going to be searching up is Dead by Daylight Pinhead. It would be the same process as downloading the Sable model. Just click the little check mark. Well, without the check mark, it should be a plus icon, but once you subscribe, it will be a check mark, automatically become downloaded into Source Filmmaker. Now, another program you will need is a video editing software. The one I use is DaVinci Resolve. It is completely free, and it takes some time to get used to, but I will show you exactly the process that I use to make all these lovely GIFs. Tinor, if you want to follow me, Auoki, search it up. At Auoki on Twitter if you want to use any of my GIFs too. Alright, now, first thing you need to do once you actually have all those programs installed is think about what do you want to animate. Now, I either have two things. Either I recreate a video online or I just make something up out of my creative brain, you know? So today we'll actually be recreating a video with Kathy Bates from a show that I don't actually know what show it's from, but we'll just be recreating it. And we will be using Pinhead as Kathy and then Sable as Weird Guy in the Chair. Okay, once you have your video or your idea, what I like to do is use my phone as this process as like a second monitor, and I just go through the video and I screenshot individual poses that will flow into each other, because this animation is not a traditional animation. We will render each frame that we replicate from a video, and then we're going to edit it together in an editing software. Do you have your screenshot, your idea, your video? You're good to go. Now we're going to go straight and open up that SFM. Hey, I'm sorry about all these black screens with white text on them, but I have to put a disclaimer. The animation process of this was really wonky and a lot of things went wrong. And in that, I will explain what went wrong, how it usually goes, and how to fix it. And I will also include a bonus video of me rendering a simple pose of Mikaela recreating a meme I see on TikTok all the time. So if you want to skip to that, it's basically the same thing that we're going to be doing in the animation, but I also advise you to just watch how I make the Pinhead first and then see how I would have wanted it to go with the Mikaela render. Let's actually get started now. Alright, now upon opening a Source Filmmaker, you'll be met with a screen about starting a new session. This is just like the project file we're going to be working our animation in. Just change new session name to whatever you want to name your animation. The frames, it doesn't really matter because we are not actually animating anything. And you can also change the file path where you want the project to be stored. But once you have it named, just click Create. Once you see the screen, you will know that all files downloaded from the SFM Workshop have downloaded correctly, and you'll be able to search them up once you import models later. But we don't have a map just yet. We need to select the void. The void is basically just a map that has nothing in it. It has zero lighting, so you're perfect to create any scene that you want. So just search up void when clicking load map, and it will show up. Just click open. It took a little bit to load on my computer, so if you don't notice any difference, just wait. And even once it has loaded, you won't tell the difference because it has lighting enabled. Right click again into that menu and click enable light. This will just disable all the lighting and you can see everything crystal clear without darkness. To actually control the scene, you need to click the button in the bottom left-hand corner. This will allow you to move the camera around, and you can move the camera around by holding down the mouse button, and with WASD you can move in those directions, and you shift to move faster. The next thing we need to do is create a camera. Right-click to create a camera, or you can also click the plus icon, drag and hold the camera into the main view area, and it will put your view as the camera view, so it's good to like manually reposition. With the camera selected, there are settings on the right. Click and adjust the field of view to adjust how wide you want your shot to be. Right click again on the left side to open up this menu. You will be clicking import model. Now you can either search for the model, but I'm running, my laptop just has a hard drive, so it takes a little while. You can look under the list and find the creator you downloaded it from, but I just searched up Pinhead, and that's the model. Just click it, and it should appear in game. Once you have your model, click the right-hand corner that says camera 1, and it will switch to the work camera. This camera you control just like the other camera, but it won't change any of your actual camera settings. The white lines we are seeing on screen are actually the camera 1's point of view. So we are going to click the model in order to move it, and there are 4 controls in the model window on the bottom left-hand corner that we will be using to rotate and move Pinhead around. We will right now be clicking this arrow one. The red arrow will be able to push him back, and we will be switching back and forth in the camera to make sure Pinhead is just positioned correctly. Now again, just hold and you move your mouse in the direction that you want Pinhead to move. Keep switching back to make sure that he's going to be in the right position. The next tool, which is the one right next to it, is a more precise rotation tool rather than that orange circle we saw earlier. So click the button right next to the arrows, and you'll be able to rotate in axes straight across. But if you click in the middle between those lines, you can also just move in a spherical motion. We are now ready to begin posing. So click the plus icon under Pinhead's name, and it will show you all these different categories for parts of his model. With the orbital tools selected, I am able to move his neck in these directions and Pinhead's head in the direction that I am wanting to. And just so you guys know, I am recreating the first screenshot of that video that I showed in the beginning. The neck and the head were the easy parts. Now we're just going to move the shoulders into position, go into arms, click the clavicle, which is basically like how scrunched you want the shoulders to be, and just rotate it around into the position that matches with what you're wanting to do. Now is the part where I start changing his facial expressions. I click to the work camera view so I can just get up close and personal with this lovely man. This is a part where it sort of went wrong because all of the facial points had to be individually posed instead of having a menu where I can scale things up and down, which I will show in the Mikaela video, what I'm used to, but it still worked out a little bit here. So just select the points that you want to move, and then with one of the movement tools, move it into the position that you want it to be in. Here I'm using the orange orb, orange circle tool that's on the very far right of the tool set, and I'm clicking and holding the yellow circle in the middle to physically move up and down parts of the model. You can also select or drag around in the inner circle to rotate. Do I know if this is how it's supposed to be done? No, but this is how I do it. Yes, sometimes, most of the time, it does not look good, especially with this model because of the way I was morphing the model around. The pins were getting stretched. Again, a point where things went wrong, but it is not the end of the world. With the pose being complete, right click on the left corner again to open and add a light, and then right click again to open that menu and re-enable lighting. Right click again to open that menu and click render settings. Here you'll find your render settings. I turn off depth of field, motion blur, anti-aliasing, because it's just not what I want in this specific project. But if I wanted to do depth of field, then I would do depth of field. Pinhead's looking a little bright, so we're going to go into the same area that we went last time to adjust the field of view and drag the intensity down, and then go even further with the quadratic intensity to just I can't stop saying pin, but like pinpoint the right amount of brightness you want for your scene. But this is just the first light. I love to put the first light just right in front of the subject and then fill in the rim lights around. The only settings that I do change for my lights besides the intensity are turning down all the way completely shadow depth bias and then turning up shadow slope scale depth bias. They're right next to each other. They're under the quadratic attenuation. So I have the lighting perfectly calibrated for what I want the scene to be like. I click and hold the light and drag it into the middle like you would the camera and position it into the first position. And now I'm just adding more and more lights. I copy and pasted one, the first one I made just so it has all the same settings. And I'm really just trying to place it around the subject to fully light him, not have any of these dark crevices that don't realistically make sense in the video. And if you're recreating a video, look to see how that lighting is done in Kathy Bates. She is rim lighted. She has a strong light behind her head and back. So we are going to recreate that too. We're going to increase the intensity on his backlight so his back is shown brightly. That is called a rim light. To export the render, click File in the left top hand corner, click Export, and as Poster. Here you'll see a menu where you want your output. I am going to be creating a new file specifically for this project, and I'm going to name it Pinhead. In that folder, I will name it Pinhead, and specifically Pinhead 1, because this is the first screenshot that we will be rendering. And as we do another, the second one will be Pinhead 2. Or if I make any specific modifications to one, it'll be Pinhead 2 Special, you know? Have that specific order that you rendered from beginning to end, and you can just compile them all one by one. The most crucial step, change TGA to PNG or JPEG. Also here you have resolution, but specifically, you cannot view your render if it's in TGA. PNG is my go-to, and also 1080p is my go-to. But then once that is done, just click Export. Since we're doing such a simple render, it won't take that long. Just wait for all these boxes to fill up and not become gray, and then once the full window just disappears, then it's done rendering. Boom. So I did check back in my files how I liked the output of the render, and I did not like it. This Pinhead render was too grainy and too dark. So what I did was make it brighter. I added a couple more lights, but what really changed the game was right-clicking again, opening the render settings, and disabling ambient occlusion. That just got rid of most of the grainy shadows, and yes, it does look softer, but it looks more visually pleasant, am I right? So then I'm just going to keep on re-enabling, disabling lights, figuring out a light balance, and I advise you to do that too. If you feel like something's off, then just disable and re-enable things so you can see what you're liking and what needs to be adjusted. This was the final render of this set of processes, but I still feel like there was room for improvement, so I went and improved it again. The reason I'm improving the first shot so much is because all those lightings will carry into the upcoming poses. This is what the final render looked like for the first pose, and I was satisfied with it. So then you just do all the other ones. You did one screenshot, now you gotta do the rest. I will stop when it gets to Sable, but for right now, just recreate all those other poses that you have, and as long as they don't change scenes or whatever, then you can just keep animating, posing the body, posing the face, you know, just have fun. Alright, now time for Sable. I'm going to click the eye icon on the Pinhead model and collapse the menu just so he's not in the way. I create another camera because I have to go back to their pose later, and plus I don't want to mess up my camera settings. So create a new camera, adjust it to an angle where it wouldn't be in the way of anything. I'm just going to search up Sable again to get her model, and I'm going to import her, adjust her to the camera's focal length and position, and just match her up with a screenshot. She also has the same attributes of the face being a little messed up, but I have to work with what I'm given, and just having all the fingers, all the models, or all the parts of the model where I can easily click a menu and pose that specific area. For fingers, it's always tricky. Even for me, I've been doing this for years. Yes, I think I'm still a beginner. Am I great at SFM? No. But fingers will forever, I think, be the bane of my existence. You will need to select the fingers that start with like whole numbers, like 0, well, not whole numbers, but like the 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and rotate them using the X, Y axis spherical rotation tool. That is just so they don't distort, and it keeps to the bone structure, you know? Helps make the fingers look more realistic. But when posing hands, just animate them. Like, I like to just hold my hand out, kind of just see how each segment of my hand poses, and then I just pose it like the model. So it's hard, but it's manageable. A lot of trial and error, just checking back with the main camera. It doesn't have to look perfect. Sometimes you can hide the fingers, hide the hand. It doesn't matter. But as long as it looks right from the main camera's point of view, you're golden. Gotta be good or be golden. The last part of this segment is literally just me doing the same things that I've been explaining this whole entire video. Posing, rendering, lighting, Ooh, that I didn't. Okay. Well, that was a little bit messed up. You know, I was figuring out the face, how Sable works specifically in this model. And again, I just want to talk about some of the things that went wrong in this. Yes, the facial rendering was a little scuffed. And with Pinhead specifically, because of how his pins were oriented, his pins were stretching. And during a part of the Pinhead facial animation process posing, some part of his underskin got clipped into his model. And I didn't notice this until it was too late, and I didn't know what I pressed, and I've already rendered multiple poses. So that unfortunately had to be in the final product. But again, it's not the end of the world. Your animation can look scuffed, but as long as it's made with love, passion, and not AI generated, it will be fine. Step 3, editing. You have all these renders. You need to just compile them in an editing software like DaVinci Resolve, linked in the description, to actually make the animation itself. It's not animated. We're just using renders. But when we make everything so fast, those individual frames of animation will turn into animation. Let's open up that video editing program of your choice. I'm using DaVinci Resolve. Let's get started. My first step is dragging all of my media into the media bin, as that's how DaVinci Resolve works, and I can just drag it from the media bin onto the timeline. So what you want to have is the video you're recreating on the bottom, and then you need to be able to place each render on top of it. In this example, I changed the opacity so I can see how Pinhead matches up with the actual Kathy Bates video. And I will reposition Pinhead so it fits almost right. That's another thing I wish I would have done better, was positioning the camera a little bit more closely, but it's just, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If you numbered all your screenshots / renders, then they should be in the order that they go in the animation, so just keep on dragging them onto the timeline to fit with the current pose / scene of Kathy Bates or video you are recreating. What you're not going to do is change the zooming / position of Pinhead. This is a base that we will use later to recreate and specifically position him over Kathy Bates. After exporting the video, you will want to import it to a software or the same software that you're using, just something that is capable of removing the background. Usually I use Canva, and that is what I'm using here, but Canva did not like the darkness in this. Didn't agree with Pinhead's leather suit either, so it didn't look good. I tried for a long time trying to find random free websites, probably maybe got a virus on my computer, but all I advise you is you need to input that exported video to remove that black background into a software that AI or just removes the background for you. Everything was so messy taking away the background, I ended up doing 3 different rendering styles or editing styles. I did 3 different editing styles. One where I kept the background fully intact, so it's just black. One where I changed the composite of the overlay to sort of stack Pinhead and Sable on each actor. That same technique of changing the overlay, but using static background images, so it looks alright. Now, since you are using that initial static position compilation of all your renders, all you need to do is position character over the actor. And I know I said that before, but truly just put them over it and track their positions, and it looks realistic. Like, it makes the movement actually seem like movement, but really you're just having photos, you know? So just do that for the whole entire video. If you're doing an animation where the background actually is fully removed without having any artifacts where you need to do a different overlay, as I'm doing right now, then resize everything. So again, it's tracking the characters, but it's also covering up the characters, mostly. I wouldn't say they need to be fully cut up. Again, this is all for fun. It's not going to be professional. It's just a fun little DBD animation you can make. So let's just cut to the final product.
Taking out a restraining order against you. You are not allowed within 500 feet of the production.
But how am I supposed to do the show if I can't be within 500 feet of the
You're not on the show. You're never going to be on the show again. Taking out a restraining order against you. You are not allowed within 500 feet of the production.
But how am I supposed to do the show if I can't be within 500 feet of the
You're not on the show. You're never going to be on the show again. Taking out a restraining order against you. You are not allowed within 500 feet of the production.
But how am I supposed to do the show if I can't be within 500 feet of the
You're not on the show. You're never going to be on the show again.
All right, thank you so much for watching. This is a call to action. Call to action. I want to see more DBD animations that are not just the Viggle AI character over an already existing video. Go into SFM, try your hardest, follow my tutorial, and make one of these your own. Yes, mine went wrong. The outcome looks a little ugly, but it's human. My mistakes are human, and it adds charm. So, I want you to make your own one of these. Again, it's all free as long as you have the willpower and PC that can run it. You should be good. Again, I did promise you a bonus Mikaela render. That will be right now, actually. Let's remember all the things we just did. So, we gotta load the map. Remember, load the map. Add the camera, orient the camera, find the place you want to do your scene. Then, switch to the work camera. And then, open your model. Put them in a spot where the camera can see according to the lines on the screen. Go back. Pose the model. Orient them. You gotta get... Oh, wait. That's the face thing that we were wanting earlier. So, you can click on each one of these menus and just slide them like you would on the right side of the menu, and then they change the different poses. And this is what I really wanted with the Pinhead and Sable, but for some reason they weren't there. That's alright though. Then you gotta pose the arms, pose the arms, pose the body, pose the fingers. Remember, use that circle tool. Gotta make sure the bone structure's right. Gotta make sure everything seems natural. Then enable the lighting. Put that one light right in front of the face, just so you can get a good idea. Then position it where you want it to be. Change the intensity. Change the quadratic intensity. Place those rim lights. Make the light look like the photo that we are recreating, which is a secret. Maybe you know already. Final touches. Orient the arms, body, export. Name the file how you want to name it, and put it in a folder you will recognize. Make sure, put it as PNG. Take it to Canva. Canva liked my thing this time. Remove the background. The image is done. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I get an A+.